with the Open Public Meeting Act. Tara, would you take roll, please?
There it is. I got it. Never mind.
Okay, sorry. Arnold Schmidt,
Here.
William Burtis,
Here.
Bill Connell. I see him here. I think you're muted, but I see you.
I'm here.
Okay. Cecile McIver,
Here.
John Hurling,
Here.
Mayor Kramer. I see him. Melba Batten,
Here.
Bob Puskis, Bob Vornlocker. Oh,
Here.
and hang on, I just want to check the attendees and make sure. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me just see who this is. Hi, who's on the call as an attendee? 732. Go ahead.
This is Mike Smith from the Board of Ed.
Oh, okay. Hang on 1 second. Okay, so he's in there too. Okay. All right. That is it for right now.
Okay, very good. Mr. Mayor, if we have to do a reorganization, would you lead the nominations for officers?
You're muted,
You're
Mayor.
muted.
Chairman is directing a question to you.
You mean for open space?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, would you run the reorganization part of this meeting, please?
Oh, right, yes, I understand. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I guess it isn't truly an open public meeting act, so I don't have to read. Oh, no, there is an open public meeting. There's open public meeting, so call to order in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Tara, can you call the roll?
I took the roll already.
Okay, sorry, is that a?
No, that's okay.
Shall we pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the
to
flag
the flag of the
United States of America.
and to the
Republic,
Stands
which
one nation,
stands
under God, indivisible,
under
with liberty and justice for all.
control.
Good. Please mark on the roll that Mr. McCourt was unable to attend due to family issue. All right, so the first item of business would be to elect the chairman. Do we have a nomination for chairman?
Somebody better.
I'll nominate Bob Puskis if nobody else has already done that.
I'll second the motion.
Nominated and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Do we have a motion to close nominations?
I'll make a motion to close the nominations.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing nominations for chairman, say aye.
All right.
I
I can't vote. All opposed, say nay. Nominations are closed. We can, because there's only one person, we can do this by acclamation. All in favor of Bob Puskis for chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Mr. Puskis. Here's your meeting.
I'd like to open the floor up for nominations for vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Arnold Schmidt.
I'll
Do we have
second the motion.
Very good. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? For hearing none, a motion to close the nomination for vice chair.
I'll second that.
We could do this by acclamation. All in favor for Arnie being vice chair, say aye.
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 Opposed? The next nomination up, I guess it's the secretary. But it passed, Bill Connell has done it. Maybe by, maybe not by wanting to or not. Bill, you on the line? You still want to do it?
I'm here. Let's put it that way. I'll do what I need to do, but I'd love to see Arnie do it.
I've already got the vice chair, so I don't want to do double duty, so I will nominate Bill Connell.
Yeah, that would be a heavy lift.
Yes, it would be a very heavy lift. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Hearing none,
I'll second it.
hearing none, close the nominations. All in favor of Bill being secretary, say aye.
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 Opposed? Congratulations, Bill.
Thanks.
All right, that is it for that part of the business of nominations. I don't believe we have any other officers. So moving along, we need a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Open to the public.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, open the meeting to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is now open to the public. Tara, is there anybody on the line for what the?
Yes, so we have, Bill Bowman is here. Let me just see if he wants to speak. Hi, Bill.
Hello, Happy New Year. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Happy New Year.
A motion to close to the public.
Oh, wait, no, there's more. There's a few, yep. We have also, Chuck Martin from the Trails Advisory Committee. Hi, Chuck, how are you?
I'm fine, Tara, thanks. I have no comments this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then we have two more. I believe one is still Mike from the Board of Ed, but hang on. Hi, well, it looks like the number starts with 609.
Hi, it's Ted Chase. I'm trying to get into the meeting and WebEx won't let me in.
I couldn't get in either. I had to go through my phone.
Me too. Me too.
Huh.
What did you use as email addresses?
The same one that the councilman.chase@franklinnj.gov.
Well, that's what I used.
Yeah, I had the
Me
same.
too.
And I
I'm
used
using my
OSAC
phone because I
member.
couldn't get in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why.
I had that problem too. I had to try it 3 times.
Worked for me.
Yeah, I got in too. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not really sure. It's the same email address that the agendas come out to. So
Yeah. But something was wrong.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
And I used the password OSAC member.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give the password out, please.
So now
That's
why it's a password.
Secret.
That's not as bad when I was flying B-52s and we had a practice of them. One of the guys got on the radio and started saying, "No, that's not the way you do it. You do it this way."
I think Dr. Chase is now on double secret probation for that.
He said OPEC.
Can you
right?
promote him to a panelist?
Yes, I will. Actually, so Bo just said it could be if you use the link directly from WebEx, it's easier to get in from the email that WebEx sent you. That could be an issue. The only other thing I can think of is I had to do updates on my computer today, so maybe you might need to update your WebEx. That could possibly be an issue as well.
Do I, on my computer, do I actually have to have the app or something on my computer?
No, you don't.
No.
Well, that's what
So we're all on. Could we just maybe move the meeting on a little?
Okay.
We're all here.
I'll try and figure it out. All right, I'll move you up. And then hang on, we have one more person.
So, Dr. Smith, are you here as the DOE representative?
I am the new liaison.
Awesome. Okay.
So he should be
Taking over
promoted
for-
as well.
Okay, I'll add you to the list then and I'll move you up. Okay, that's
Great.
all that we have on the attendee list.
No more public comment. Move the motion, get a motion to close public
I
comment.
motion to close to the public.
I'll
Yeah,
second it.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of September and November 2020's minutes. Yeah, I hope everybody got a look at them. Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I have just one comment under public comment,
Only one, Arnie?
only one. It says MacIver moved, Schmidt seconded a motion to option to public. I think I meant to say open to the public.
Okay.
Well done, Arnie.
Oh, thank you. I have to have something.
Okay, motion to approve the minutes with that.
Wait, I have
correction.
a comment. I have a comment.
What?
The spelling of my last name and those who attended. The first set of minutes that you sent us, my last name is spelled Luchs. And
Okay.
it says Fuchs.
Okay.
All right, motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
I second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, very good. Thank you, folks. Next on the agenda is old business. The prescribed burn at the John Clyde Memorial grasslands. Sarah, you want to lead this?
Sure. So we had the prescribed burn actually took place at the John Clyde Memorial Native Grasslands Preserve on January 12th. We applied for the prescribed burn back in 2019 after legislation was passed by the governor that really opened the program up more to municipalities. And it allowed the New Jersey Forest Fire Service to do prescribed burns at no cost to municipalities for ecological reasons, wildfire prevention, grasslands management, things of that nature. So we applied for it. There was a delay because of COVID and also because of wildfires. Our representative went out to California for 3 months straight, which is great. So when he came back and was able to get us on the list, it moved very quickly. We were able, with DPW's help, to get up some really great signs in front of John Clyde grasslands and also in the interior of the parking lot so that people knew a prescribed burn could happen anytime between really like January 6th and April 15th. So after we got the website up and we got some alerts out, we got a call within 2 days that they wanted to come and do the burn because, as I explained before, it's very weather dependent and they need a block of days where the wind speed is correct and the humidity is correct. So it just so happened that January 12th was that day. So I went out there, Chuck Martin from Trails was out there, and Bob Huskus came out for a little bit. And it was a very impressive operation. Our representative, George Effinger, he lives in Franklin, I believe. Excellent, super, super professional. Like, I was beyond impressed. And I just felt like I came home, I said it was one of like the best days I had at work because I felt like I learned that day so many things that I never knew in my life. The other thing I was really impressed with is I shouldn't be impressed because they do this all the time, but it was very strategic. It was not like a blazing fire. It's very well planned out. They have emergency response right there. They do a whole briefing of all the firefighters. And we also learned that it's New Jersey's largest fire department. They actually can go anywhere in New Jersey and fight fires. It's mostly made up of retired career firemen. So it worked great. The only place that there was a little bit of a problem was the very first field. So if you're coming in from the parking lot and that very first field to your right, there's a lot of invasive species in there that are fire resistant. So what was able to burn has burned, and there are a few outstanding, trees and branches and things. So we'll have to work with DPW to cut them at a certain height and then use spot treat them right there, but that's the only spot treatment. So we don't need this huge, influx of chemicals. Most of the fields were burned, and it was a total of 88 acres that were proposed for burning. And I think they burned about like 68 or so. So they may come back another day and just try and finish up that other field if they can. But I mean, after seeing it and seeing how well it works, I would say it's the best option for grasslands management. It cost us nothing. They do the prep work, and the prep work now for the field that they had a hard time with, they will actually go out there and mow it and create mulch out of it if need be. So all the prep work's included, all the staff is included, all the cleanup, and they were just excellent. So I do have a few pictures if you want to see, if anyone's interested. If not, I can just email them around.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed at how the operation was going and set up and stuff. I got there early on when we started the fires, and it was quite impressive with the equipment they had and making sure everything was done the right way and make sure, you could walk right down and stand amongst them as long as you listened to the directions and stood away from the fire. And Tara, now after I left, the bigger part of did it burn better than it was doing when I was there? Because they had a little trouble because of the invasives.
They did, yeah. They were able to get the whole back field. So then when you come into the parking lot, if you look to the field directly across from the kiosk, in that area, all they had to do was light a few strategic fires, and the entire thing was done within 10 minutes. So that worked great. Yeah, that worked great. So, yeah. So if you go out there now, you'll see it. It looks like black soil in patches. So it'll be great for the soil conditions. It'll actually bring more nesting birds back once everything starts growing up. It kills a lot of the seed bank that the invasives have, so it gives them less chance of coming back, but it promotes the native grassland. So it's really all around great. And the other thing I just want to add, we had not one complaint about it. It was excellent. We actually had people come out just to watch it. They want to sit in the parking lot and ask questions, very interested. So it was really good.
The plan is to do it every year, Tara?
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely worth doing it from every perspective, but I mean, that's something you all have to, decide. I had mentioned to the Trails Committee, if you want to go out and look at it and see if it's something you think went well and it's worth it, then I think, yeah, it's cost-wise, environment-wise, ecology-wise, it's really the best practice.
Good.
Yeah, my recommendation would be for the committee. Many of the committee members could go out, take a look at it, and see what. I want to take a ride back up there myself and check it out and see how well it burned the next few days. And I think we get a look at it and put it on the agenda for the next meeting, Tara, about voting on it to do it again and see how it. I think it's a great, like you said, it's a great tool to use. And but I'd like to get the members to go out and take a look before we decide to do it again. Just for an educational look.
Yes. Tara, you said you have a picture you can show us?
I do, yeah. Hold on, let me share my screen here.
Tara, how many people did they have doing this?
They had at least 20 different fire personnel were out there. So it was very, very well planned out. On top of the fire personnel, they also had EMTs. They had people that were doing the water truck. So they had a huge amount of people there with all their trucks, everything. So let me see. I even have a video I can show you. Actually, I'll show you the video. That's probably more impactful. So can you all see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how it starts off. They do a few little sets of fires and it goes down the way. So that's really what it is. It's not this blazing, fire, and you can see the smoke in the background there, which dissipates really quickly. And that's what is left over here, what it looks like after it's been burned. So that's a video. And I'll show you here. So, here we go. So here's the team doing their prep. So this is just a few of them. They set up in the parking lot. They have a briefing and they talk about where, if someone gets hurt, this is what you do. And this is the hospital we're going to if something happens. Oh, this is what I want to show you. This is interesting. This is a Callaway pear tree. So as you can see, the roots got scorched, but nothing happened to this is a very invasive species that we have a lot of at the John Clyde grassland. So this is something that we would spot treat. Let me see if I have this here. This one, yeah. And so this is what it looks like when it's smoldering. You can see a few of the fire personnel are back here. They don't really use water even to put it out. They have it set up so it kind of, after it catches, it just smolders and that's it. They only had to stamp it out with some tools just in this one instance. So, and then the rest of it is really a lot of just the same thing, but that's kind of gives you, let me see if I can find one of the whole team just to show you, because okay, so here's a few more. So yeah, I don't think George is in this one, but this is just a few of them. So half of them are like on, you know, prevention duty and the other half are actually doing the lighting of the fires. So yeah, they were there from 8:30. They were done by 4:30. So it went pretty well, I think. I was happy with it.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, anybody have any other questions for Tara about this? So we can move on. We got a lot of stuff to cover yet. If not, anybody else have any old business they want to bring up?
Says mute.
If not, we'll move on to new business. Tara, you have on here correspondence from the resident about the hunting program?
Yeah, so we received a letter from a resident who had some questions about the hunting program specifically at John Clyde grasslands. So I went through their questions. There are about 7 of them, and a lot of them are easily answered. Like the first question, they wanted to know why was the hunting season from September to February? So that's an easy one. It's because that's when the state says the hunting season is. They would like to express to the committee that they feel that the property should not be closed to the public during firearms season. And they feel that, you know, it could be used by both, you know, hunters and hikers. They also want to know if it's a possibility to provide orange tape or something orange to, I guess maybe in the kiosk or something, to people that are interested in walking, if that was to happen, if we were to allow the hikers at the same time. They did ask if we can put a map of the hunting areas on the signage, which we can do, especially now that we have the sign machine at DPW. They did it for the prescribed burn. They made a great sign. So that is not a problem. We can do that. And just for your knowledge, I am working on updating all the hunting maps so that they're uniform and they're user friendly and they show clearly the parking areas, the boundaries, you know, any public areas. So that should be done February or March, and we can use it for the next hunting season. So we can definitely put that on a sign. And there was one other thing, post the maps, the orange trail tape. That's one thing we need to ask about. I need to talk to you all about. And they also would like to express that they feel that OSAC should consider other ways to keep deer from damaging young trees and shrubs, possibly including the use of fencing in some areas. And then they had a question about the prescribed burn, which was how come the fields weren't mowed last year at John Clyde, and how does the prescribed burn work? So I kind of explained that. And the reason that we didn't mow parts of it was because we needed enough fuel for this burn. So you're not supposed to really mow it right beforehand. So I can send the response to that letter, but before we do that, I just wanted to see if you want to make, I don't know if you want to talk about it at the next meeting, but those questions of, do you want to re-examine keeping it open during fire season to hikers and walkers? And do we want to provide orange tape for non-hunters entering the area?
No. No.
I don't think orange tape is going to hold up very well. I mean, maybe a sign that warns people that, you know, people are coming in and hunting at that point, but orange tape, I don't think is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's hunting season, people should know well enough to wear bright clothing.
Mm-hmm.
To identify themselves.
Yeah. Yep. I also wonder if if we're providing orange tape, like what's the sign, right? Is there like a, I don't know what the correct word to use is, but is there some type of ownership we're taking if we're giving you tape to come in, So
The word is liability. We post that you have to wear blaze orange when you're in the trails during bow season. I don't think that we should permit hikers on the property during shotgun season. We've had multiple discussions about that, and
Yes,
the
we have.
decision was made to prohibit hikers on the properties when shotgun hunters are present.
I
Yeah.
agree.
That is correct. And what we can impress on these people, Tara, maybe is the fact that there's no hunting on Sundays. So, at the park, the grasslands, during the gun season are open on the Sundays.
Well, that and that there's other properties that are open. And I think another reason is too, is, for our deer management program, it's good to have this season of firearm where the hunters can really focus on the deer, which really helps everyone in the township, if we can get that under control. So, okay.
Two questions. Has it been successful? Or do you have any way of telling whether it's been successful so far? And then I guess the other question is does Bob need some sort of motion or anything like that to kind of reaffirm what we just talked about?
I think in 2018, we saw an increase in the amount of deer harvested. I'm sorry, in 2019. 2020, we don't really have good numbers on because of COVID. There was a lot of reports that didn't come in or people that couldn't go out and hunt for whatever reason. So I think next year we'll have a better count, but there was an increase. So I think if you just went on that one set of numbers, you could say yes. And it really is safer for people because, it's hunting with a firearm in the wide open, especially now that it's been burned, the wide open grassland, So in terms of emotion, I'm not sure Bob did. No, he has to send a.
At this point, I don't think we need one because.
No, it's just answering correspondence, and that's what we pay Tara to do.
Okay.
Right.
So I'll send the response then based on all of your, the response and just running it by you all quickly. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Tara. Next thing is replacing the benches along the trails.
Yes. So at the Trails Committee, we've been talking about replacing a lot of the benches on the trails. They have some damage because they're kind of, they're getting on in life. And also, around the bottoms, there's been some damage just from regular maintenance, mowing, things like that. So we have been talking about potentially replacing the benches. I've been working with Carl to get a quote from our state cooperative contract for the backless benches. The ones, they're not very expensive. They're aluminum, so they don't require as much maintenance. I don't have that quote yet, but for the next meeting, I'm sure we will. So I'll work on that in between and I'll get you the number. And I have to give Trails the number as well because we didn't have the quote in time. So as soon as I get the number to you, as soon as I have the number, I'll get it to you. And then if it's something that, you think we can move forward on, I can definitely work with Bob Warnlocker and budgeting time for that if it works out.
I take it this isn't a potential Boy Scout merit badge sort of thing?
Now, the problem, Arnie, is that the wood benches rot. And so the idea was to install aluminum benches so that we didn't have they'll last a lot longer. Now, as an aside, one of the things that Tara and I discussed as a possibility is you could do this through fundraising efforts. If someone wanted to dedicate a bench to a certain person or a certain organization and fund the cost of the bench, that certainly, I think, that's been done in a lot of different places and certainly would fit here.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Open Space Committee have a Facebook page?
No, the Township of Franklin has a Facebook page.
No, I know that, but I ask also because I'm not on Facebook, so I'm.
But no, so the Township of Franklin has a Facebook page. The Recreation Department has a Facebook page, and the Police Department has a Facebook page. And on that, to stay in line with our social media policy for the township, that's all that we'll have as far as Facebook goes.
It's interesting you bring that up because, as an aside, I know the Environmental Commission has been talking about possibly doing that, but That's another issue.
And I know it is, and it would be contrary to our current social media policy, which is in line with our joint insurance fund.
Okay, fine. The only reason I was asking about Facebook was this would be a way to promote what you were just talking about.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, we could promote it, and the recreation department has a Facebook page and promotes all of your events for open space and trails, as does the township. So that's how it would go out.
Because I think that's a great idea that people can make donations and have, dedicate a bench to somebody or, whatever they want to put on it.
Yep. Yeah, I think people will really like that, and it'll cut back some costs. And the Trails Committee, they actually said they prefer the backless bench, which is cheaper because it's easier for people with a backpack. So as soon as I have those numbers, I'll get them. And it's maybe I think we're gonna try and replace the really, really broken ones first. It'll be like whatever we can get, we'll work on those areas first, unless someone donates them and they want them at a specific area.
Well, you also have to decide, I guess, how much money somebody needs to donate to have their name put on a bench.
Right.
A lot of that have to do with how much they cost.
Right. Yeah. Once we find out, you're right. Once we find out how much they cost, you're right. We could definitely come up with what is the appropriate donation figure so that we, at least covers the cost and probably.
Do you have a clue? Do you have a clue what they cost?
I know Bob, and I don't know. I don't know the exact. I really don't. And we're looking for a quote to make sure we get you the right number. So we'll definitely have it by next meeting.
But what it sounds like is that you could have a different cost for each bench depending on how much repairs is needed for each bench.
No, we're going to buy new benches. We're replacing all of the benches.
Oh, okay.
But ones that, what's happened is, some of these benches are 15, 20 years old now.
Okay.
They rotted away, and and then just it's time for replacement. So these will be all new.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
It'll be good.
It'll be like a bleacher bench, but like 3 feet long with two legs.
Right.
Look at the benches in front of the 9/11 memorial. Those are aluminum benches that have no backs. That's what we're talking about. It's just a plain aluminum bench. Those are a little bit fancier, but that's the thought process.
Yeah.
How many benches are we talking about?
Let me think. So, I'm not really 100% sure off the top of my head because my original thought was we would look at the really, ones in super need at first. But I don't know. Roughly how many benches do you think, Bob Warlocker?
It could be as many as 24. I think there's about 12 of them in John Clyde alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, again, if the idea is one that's well received, you could put benches in along trails that we don't have them right now. Memorial Forest, I don't think has any benches. I don't know if Bunker Hill does. But there's an opportunity for not so much for fundraising, but to cover the cost of benches and allow somebody to dedicate one to a loved one or a organization that they're a member of. Who knows? It could be the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, right?
Yeah.
Anything like that. So.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll get you that number, but just something to keep, in your minds.
Maybe we'll dedicate one to Bill Connell. You never know.
Yeah.
Do I have to die to do that, or can I stay alive?
You can live.
Oh man.
As long as you're
Tara.
you get a bench.
Yes. Melba, is that you? Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking that one thing to consider about the benches is that mowers banging into a metal bench can do a lot of damage.
Right.
They
Yes.
do it to wood too, but
To the machine or to the bench?
Yeah, a lot more likely to damage the wooden benches than it is to damage the metal ones.
Yeah, the landscapers make the wooden benches look like a beaver attacked them.
Exactly.
Right.
Why aluminum and not like the recycled plastic particle board type?
The issue isn't so much the seat, David, as much as the frame.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it could have a plastic top. Aluminum is going to last a very long time. It doesn't corrode.
Right.
It stands up to the elements.
I'm
and
thinking
it's
it'll be
sturdy.
cold to sit on in the winter time.
Yeah.
Wear
Yeah.
pants.
Yeah.
Just don't put your tongue on it.
There you go.
All right, let's move on. Sarah, the next thing you have on here is transitioning to paint the blazes on the trail markers.
Right. So at the Trails Committee, we've been talking about this for a while. I talked to Bob and Carl at DPW, kind of get their feedback on it. So Somerset County Parks Commission is transitioning over to the paint blazes for their trail markers. The National Park Service is using that as their primary trail marking system moving forward. I looked into it. I went to the Sourlands, which is where the county did their first paint blazing, just to look, and it really is much easier. I talked to Carl about it because I was thinking maybe I'm just thinking it's easier. Is it really easier from a DPW standpoint? And Carl seemed to think it would be easier than using the aluminum tags that we have right now. We're almost out of them, actually, so it works out well because it would be time to reorder them soon. So I did talk to the county, basically found out that they're using a very general type of paint. It's like a bare super exterior paint. They pay about $50 a gallon, and 2 gallons got them 5 miles of trails done. And they're estimating that they'll need to be touched up once a year, maybe. This is something like maybe if we can get summer workers back when COVID's over, something they can do. You need the stencil and the paint. You don't need to keep ordering tags once you have the stencil. What else did they say that's important? Oh, when I went to look at the Sourlands, one really good thing was besides them being on trees, if they couldn't get them on trees, they would put the post up, the wooden post, and put the marker on there. They would also put them on stones if it seemed easier, like the larger stone. So it's pretty good. It gets people understanding how the trail marking system works. Seems like it's going to be much less costly, and it's going to cost less effort and maintenance. The Trails Committee wanted me to forward their recommendation that we go ahead and do this. And the only change we're going to have to make, and again, it's good timing because I'm trying to update all of our mapping from trails and hunting areas. We will have, like, brown trails are going to have to become a different color, like white or yellow, something brighter, because having a brown marker on a tree or a post is not, the best color. But other than that, it should be very simple, and I think it'll be good. So that is the Trails Committee. They talked about it again at their last meeting. They've been really doing a lot of work on it. So that is their recommendation to open space.
Kara, I'll make a motion to transition to the paint blazes for the trails.
I'll second that.
Now we have a motion, a second on the floor. We have any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. So we'll start working on that one area at a time. So we'll start maybe at like Negri this time, or maybe at another, we'll look and see what a good place is to start.
Very good. All right, next thing on there is request for stewardship roundtable field trip with, I guess, Middlesex County.
I got an email request from Eric Gerling. He is a employee of Middlesex County and their Parks Commission. They want to hold a stewardship roundtable at Negri, just to show how grasslands are properly maintained and, birding and all the things that goes along with grasslands. They do understand that, of course, it depends on COVID conditions, but they're saying tentatively, would it be okay if they held their roundtable there, which is really just a walk with other Middlesex employees and whoever else wants to sign up, on October 12th from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Any thoughts from the committee on that?
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, I'll tell them that, we have to see what's going on with any restrictions or whatever, but tentatively that it can be okay as long as that's good with everybody.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. All right, very good.
Perfect. Okay.
Bob, before you leave new business,
Well, I wasn't going to leave the business yet.
Okay. Well, before you do, I just wanted to ask something.
Okay, let me finish up, and we can at the end. I have one more thing on the list here, and it wasn't on the agenda that you got. Tara and I touched base a little bit on this just today. The county open space program, I guess, has come out with some more money that we'll be able to tap into. Tara, you want to enlighten us, the committee, on this?
Yeah, there was an article just the other day that Somerset County is opening up money for recreation facilities and fields. You have to apply to their committee directly. It's for shovel-ready projects, so projects that have cost estimates and drawings. And I believe you can get up to $1 million for if an approved proposal. But like I said, it has to be shovel-ready projects. So if we want to start thinking about something, or maybe Rec has something that they're already thinking of, but just something to keep in mind for this expanded program.
Does Catalpa qualify for that?
I mean, I would think so. As long as it's a shovel-ready project, that's the thing.
Well, if we don't find any more turtles, we should be good.
Turtles and other flora and fauna that cause problems with permits. Yeah, so now that I saw the article as well, Tara, so you and I can talk. But Bill, the answer is the article was very limited in information that it supplied, but we'll certainly pursue it with County Open Space to see what their intent is as far as making funds available. It sounded as if it was not only for active recreation, but for passive recreation as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'll put an email out to them to kind of see if we can get some real details.
Find out more details on it. I'm sure, and the committee, put your thinking caps on. We might want to spend some money to, if we could get some of this money to spend it, update or upgrade some of our facilities. Okay, Arnie, you're up. What do you need, buddy?
Well, just that I see a new face here, a Bo Beertus, if that's how you pronounce his name. And I'm just wondering if he's a new appointment, if he's a new recreation person, or who he is, and can we get a...
You weren't at the last meeting? Bo was here at the last meeting as well. So
I must have slept through that part of the meeting then.
Dennis has been the superintendent of our recreation department for over a year.
Okay, I must have missed that then.
Can I bring up something, Bob?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I am part of the Franklin Township Women's Club on their legislative committee, and the president of the Women's Club, Phyllis Beals, wanted me to ask about the invasive Japanese barberries. And ever been discussed? Is there anything that's done about that? Because it spreads like crazy. And she said that the black-footed mice spread Lyme disease, and
Yes, they do.
It could carry to deer. And is there anything that can be done, like, for example, prohibiting having some kind of going to the council and having some kind of ordinance to maybe not allow people to plant this anymore, or even be sold in township,
or let the birds eat it.
So very bad. She has it all growing all over on the perimeter of her backyard, and it just grows like crazy.
Any thoughts from any of the committee members on that?
Has this ever been discussed before?
It is an invasive species, and it's recognized by New Jersey as an invasive species. Now, as a matter of fact, I happen to have a few of those plants, and I've had them for 40 years and they've never spread. So the conditions have to be right. For instance, Duke Farms, the conditions were right and it spread like crazy in the meadowlands there. And they had a real problem on their hands. And the reason I have it is because the deer won't eat it.
Right.
In our natural areas, though, that's what the prescribed burns are meant to eliminate, those sort of things. So, I mean, you can't prevent people from planting stuff on their property. I mean, they're just going to do it.
Right. I think you're right.
What about selling it? What about not allowing it to be sold?
It's free
But
enterprise. You can't stop them from selling it.
Township, you would have to go to something like Home Depot, which isn't in Franklin Township, and we can't control that.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
We could put something in the newspaper.
Well, again, it is on the invasive species list by the state.
But it's not the only invasive species. There's countless that you go to the
Yes.
Home Depot. There's countless invasive species that are for sale. You can't
Yes.
stop them from selling it.
You're
So,
right. They do. They
Right.
put a lot.
But in this case, with the black-footed mice, the ability to spread more Lyme disease, it's harmful health-wise. It's not just
well, you can't ban mice.
nothing
No,
you can do about that. Set up some mouse traps.
Mice, but in something, you know.
Well,
We can't ban them, but we can require them to get a license.
We have deer hunting.
The mice?
What, the deer or the mice?
The mice.
Both.
Let's move along. Thank you for bringing that up. And like it was said, there's more invasive species being sold than there is native grasses being sold. So it's a statewide problem.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other?
Yeah, Bob, I have something to add.
Go ahead.
Was recently at one of the historic buildings and wanted to have the committee think about sponsoring a building every year that we can take a look at the maintenance requirements for each of the buildings in our historic building group of homes. The Van Wickle House, for example, probably needs a new roof, and those kinds of things we could focus on take a commitment that each year we would focus on one of the buildings that we would devote resources to.
Bob Wardlocker, do you want to comment on that?
Well, my comment would be that the Public Works Department evaluates the buildings on an annual basis and constantly evaluates them, as does the Meadows Foundation, for which we have a lease for that particular house. And the decision on what we spend money on as far as the buildings are concerned, I mean, I hate to say it, but we got a couple council members here. The money decisions come from them. You could certainly make recommendations, but the truth is those houses are evaluated by professionals. That's why, we talked about this not that long ago, and it's not a historic house, but we had the environmental center needed a roof. We're in the process of finishing up the mothballing of Studolph Gunther. We're still pursuing the diversion of the Dunn House. The other houses that fall under the control of the Meadows Foundation, Wyckoff Garretson, the Van Loo Saddam House, the Hageman Farm. Those houses are, they have caretakers through the Meadows, and we have communication with the Meadows on a regular basis as far as the maintenance of those buildings are concerned. I don't know. Certainly, to have a subcommittee to look at historic buildings certainly wouldn't be a bad thing, but I don't know to what end we're looking for, John. The buildings are monitored. I mean, some of these houses are not occupied, but they have furnaces on, they have oil heat, they have oil tanks filled. I mean, there's public works employees in there all the time. Cost is a huge factor with some of these buildings.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Huge.
But I wonder on what John's saying is there's, we generally do things when things need repairing. Is there anything proactive that we could be doing?
Right.
Or DPW is looking at that too.
Well, like I said, they're inspecting these buildings on a routine basis. And when I mean routine, once a week in some cases, and in some of the buildings they have caretakers, or some of the buildings are leased to the Meadows. They're obviously maintaining those buildings on a regular basis and reporting anything that needs to be done. It's it's a constant thing. If the Open Space Advisory Committee wants to have a subcommittee talk about historic buildings, I think it's a fantastic thing. I just don't know to what end. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Isn't that called the Historic Commission, Bob?
No, it doesn't fall under the Historic Commission. The Historic Commission is a quasi-judicial commission that enforces aspects of the zoning ordinance. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't know what its function would be. You'd have to work that out.
What's going on with the historic homes where properties are trying to carve out? Done.
Well, I'm sorry. Say it again, sir.
We're trying to carve out certain structures.
The Dunn House.
Yeah. Are we making any progress on that, or was it stalled by?
That's a well over a year-long process with the State House Commission, and I'm sure that COVID has done nothing to expedite that process. But what are we about? Just about a year into it, right, Tanner?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we were moving along pretty quickly, and then, everything with COVID. But we can start moving more forward on that once we can schedule another public hearing to kind of get that going. But we've done a lot of the requirements already, so moving along.
All right.
Would it be helpful if other people got involved in looking at the buildings and made recommendations to you?
So but are they bringing expertise to it? Is it someone who has when we had to do work on the Student Gunther House, we had to qualify contractors through the state of New Jersey to do work on the building. I don't know that I want to have a layperson's opinion as to whether or not a building needs a roof.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. If there was someone with some level of expertise as it relates to the restoration of historic structures, I'd say that's great. But is there anyone on this committee that has that?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I don't either. So that's why when we have issues, we bring people. That's why we bring people in who do when we have issues.
Okay.
What the committee's feeling, I think a subcommittee would be kind of redundant, but if you guys want to think about it, we could put it on the agenda for next month's meeting or the meeting down the road if you want to pursue this thing. But it'd be doing something without expertise. You drive down the road and see a house needs to get painted. You can always bring that up at a committee meeting, bring it to Bob's attention or the committee's attention, and we can move it along. All right, moving along then. Any questions? Next thing on the agenda is the consultant's report. Anybody look at it? Anybody have any questions for Tara on the report? Hearing none. Do you have any updates from any other committees if they've met yet this month? Or
I have a quick update, Bob.
Okay, go ahead.
At last week's Environmental Commission meeting, there was discussion about shade tree, using some of the shade tree trust funds to plant trees on our public properties. And I advised the commission members, as I will all of you, if you'd like to recommend a place or places for planting, send me an email and I will pass that on to the shade tree committee.
It looked like David was recommending that we put one in his house. Is that the tree he wanted there?
Sorry, my power on my phone just was about to die. So I went and got a power cord and I had to get into a light on my tree. Sorry about that. I should have shut my my video off.
All right.
Hey,
Any other updates for the other committees?
No, I had
Hey, Bob, can we introduce Mike Smith? Hey, Bob, can we introduce Mike Smith?
Can we introduce him now?
He said, could we?
Could we?
Sure, we could.
Mike, say hi. You still
Hi,
there?
everybody. I'm here.
Why are you here?
Can you hear me?
Where's Mike?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike.
I'm
in
here.
video.
Well, now we have to introduce Robin also.
This is my lovely wife.
Where's your camera? Why is
It's
it?
over there.
Oh, I'm like looking at the wrong camera. Hi.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Enough of meetings now. See you later.
All righty. Moving along here, motion to open the meeting to the public again.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting is now open to the public. Anybody there, Tara?
You're muted, Tara.
Are you hearing me?
Okay, I hear you. Yes, I hear you, Councilman Chase.
Well, one comment I had was that the existing benches of the John Clyde Griggstown grasslands have plaques on them saying they are dedicated to the memory of Sean Costa, although I've never found anyone who knows who Sean Costa was. So I don't know that you can just now dedicate them to somebody else.
Well, in that case, if there was one dedicated that we were replacing, we would foot the bill and put the plaque on the new bench.
Yeah.
That would be the appropriate thing. I agree.
Yeah, I think, yep. Okay, we have Chuck Martin is still on. Chuck, can you hear me?
Yes, Tara, hi. Actually, I just would like to make one comment concerning the deer regulations at John Clyde Grassland. You have a lot of activity at the grassland during the days, all through deer season. I go out there quite a bit, and I'm trying to monitor effects of the burn and other things along with that. But I encountered dog walkers, groups of dog walkers, trail runners are out there every day. I was there the day after the burn. There were 5 cars in the parking lot, and some of them were dog walkers. I encountered one family of 4 people that had hiked all around the perimeter of the grasslands. I told them, yeah, you really ought to wear orange at least out here, and so on. So I think, people either aren't getting the regulations, understanding the posted regulations, or they're just ignoring them. But you're not going to really, I think, reduce the traffic out there. And I'm wondering whether or not in the grasslands area, whether you just ought to permit hikers to take place. I don't know that there's any shotgun hunting in the actual grassland areas. First of all, I don't think we don't see people stalking deer in our hunting areas. They're usually shooting from tree stands, and they're shooting in the wooded areas away from the trails. So just my own personal opinion, I'm wondering whether you might want to consider opening up the grasslands and making it for hikers and trail runners on the weekdays, but that's your call.
What kind of signs are posted during the hunting season to let people know that it's hunting season?
I'm sorry. There are signs that are posted, but if you take a look at the signs, first of all, there are a lot of words in small letters on those signs, and I think a lot of people just aren't even reading those particular signs, particularly with regard to firearm seasons and when it's closed. Yeah,
well, I guess that's my point are the signs that we have posted during hunting season, are the signs good enough in the best places, or large enough, bright enough? And that gets back to what Bob talked about earlier, liability issues, if that could be a liability issue.
We've dealt with signs since as long as I've been township manager, and every year we have this discussion, and every year we have someone who goes over that sign and tries to make it better. The signs have to include a significant amount of information, so therefore it needs to have a lot of words. It needs to detail if we're going to have these grasslands open to different uses during the course of the hunting season based on what season it is. I know the state of New Jersey doesn't say from September 1st to October 31st is bow season, and then from November 1st to November 30th is shotgun season. There's overlaps and there's all of the other things, and we have to provide all the information. All of the information is provided on the sign, and it tells people when they're not permitted to be there. What I would say to people, like Chuck, what I would say to you is, the ordinances that govern these properties are enforced by the police department. If you're there, rather than just make the observation and then report it back at a committee meeting like this, call the police department. It's a hazard for them to be on that property when they're not supposed to be. And that's our police department's purpose, is to enforce the law. So that's who should get called immediately, not now, when we're trying to mop up after the fact.
Well, I'm reluctant to turn people in for this type of situation. But
when you say you're reluctant to turn people in, the only way that we can make them aware of the fact that they're violating the ordinance is if the enforcement agency tells them.
Bob, I'd like to suggest one thing with regard to the firearms season, and that is during that season, you could actually post a small sign on the fence as you're entering the parking lot to that saying, public is restricted from access during this season. You could actually, make a seasonal posting of the sign with that one specific statement on there. And I think you would have a better chance of restricting access and getting the law enforced. Just my opinion, but I'd just like for you to think about it.
Well, Terry, you can put that on your list of signs.
Chuck, thanks for the comments. We're going to have a wildlife committee meeting next week, I believe it is. We'll bring your comments up to the committee when we meet on that and for rules, regulations, the things we're doing for this coming season. I like the idea of about a bigger, simple sign that says closed during this period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple to do. You can put it on a corrugated plastic and just screw it into the fence for the period you're interested in posting, and you can do it in big letters. You can do it in 72-point type. So,
all right. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad I brought up signs because I wouldn't want this to be the only year that we didn't talk about signs.
I mean, even some of the athletic fields at the parks have signs that say closed for the season, which is clear. So, I mean, I don't think it's that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tara,
yes, we have Bill Bowman. I just want to see. Hi, Bill.
How are you? I'm good, thank you.
Good. Okay, thanks.
Ted was trying to talk, I think.
I don't think he's muted. No, we can hear you, Councilman Chase.
Well, I just make the point that the signs have to be new every year because the dates are different every year. But I've always said, close it completely during the week-long shotgun season and make it available with the wearing of orange the rest of the time.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Well, again, we'll bring that life committee meeting, Ted. Thank you.
Bob, just real quick before we get out of public session, I just wanted to say a thank you to Chuck Martin, who actually is one of the members of the public. He came, and I know he stayed at the prescribed burn the entire day, and he has a background in biology, so he was very helpful. It was great to have someone else there, another volunteer, and so I just wanted to say thanks for doing that, Chuck.
Well, thank you very much, Tara. I enjoyed doing it. It was an education for me too.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no other public comment, motion to close public session.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is executive session. Do we have a motion? We need to go into executive session tonight, folks.
So moved. So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of going to executive session, say aye.
Aye. Okay, and then just
Excuse me, we have to state why we're going into executive session.
Okay, we're going into executive session to discuss property negotiations. And that's it. Both of them are property negotiations.
Okay, will actions be taken when we come out?
No action is going to be taken when we come out.